Senco. The Special Educational Needs and Disability Code of Practice 2014 aims that all children are entitled to an education that enables them to achieve the best possible education and other outcomes and become confident young children with a growing ability to communicate their own views and ready to make the transition into compulsory education. The new Special Educational Needs and Disability Code of Practice was approved by Parliament and came into force on the 1st of September 2014. The code was published jointly by the Department for Education and the Department of Health and covers the 0 to 25 years age. It sets out the statutory guidance on duties, policies and procedures for all organisations who work with and support children and young people with special educational needs and disabilities, relating to Part 3 of the Children and Family Act 2014. So what has led to the new support around SEND? Previously, support has been complicated, expensive and delivered poor outcomes. Parents struggle to find the services that should be helping them, and they have to battle to get the help their children need, and have to tell their stories time and time again. Moving from children to adult services could be very difficult. English local authorities spend over $5 billion a year on SEN provision, and yet those with special needs are far more likely to achieve poorly at GCSE level and not be in education, employment or training, or be unemployed. These issues affect a lot of people. 1 in 5 children are currently identified as having some form of SEND, with 2.8% having a more complex need. So what does the new SEND 2014 hope to achieve? That children and young people with special needs and disabilities achieve well in their early years, at school and in college. They find employment, lead happy and fulfilled lives, and have choice and control over their support. The special needs reforms will implement a new approach which seeks to join up help across education, health and care from birth to 25. Help will be offered at the earliest possible point, and children and young people with SEND and their parents or carers should be fully involved in decisions about their support and what they want to achieve. This will help lead to better outcomes and more efficient ways of working. Key changes. There is a clearer focus on the participation of children and young people and parents in decision making at individual and strategic levels. Local authorities must consult on and publish a local offer of support for children and young people with SEN or disabilities and keep this under review. There is a stronger focus on high aspirations and improving outcomes for children, including support that enables them to succeed in their education and making a successful transition into adulthood. Health services have new duties to inform the local authority and other bodies about any children with SEN and disabilities as soon as problems are identified. It includes guidance on the joint planning and commissioning of services to ensure close cooperation between education, health and social care. For children with more complex needs, there is the new coordinated assessment process and an education and healthcare plan which replaces statements. The code sets out a new graduated approach to providing SEN support for children with 4 stages of action: assess, plan, do and review. This approach should be underpinned by assessment evidence, targeted plans and evidence-based support. The approach replaces the previous Early Years Action and Early Years Action Plus and the need for individual education plans. There are 4 broad areas of need: communication and interaction, cognition and learning, social, emotional and mental health difficulties, and sensory and/or physical needs. Communication and interaction. Children with speech, language and communication needs have difficulty in communicating with others. This may be because they have difficulty saying what they want to, understanding what is being said to them, or they do not understand or use social rules of communication. Children with autistic spectrum disorders, including Asperger's syndrome, are likely to have particular difficulties with social interaction. They may also experience difficulties with language, communication and imagination, which can impact on how they relate to others. Cognition and learning. Support for learning difficulties may be required when children learn at a slower pace than their peers, even with appropriate differentiation. Learning difficulties cover a wide range of needs, including moderate learning difficulties, severe learning difficulties, where children are likely to need support in all areas of the curriculum, and associated difficulties from mobility and communication through to profound and multiple learning difficulties, where children are likely to have severe and complex learning difficulties, as well as a physical disability or sensory impairment. Specific learning difficulties encompass a range of conditions such as dyslexia, dyscalculia, and dyspraxia. Social, emotional, and mental health issues. Children may experience a wide range of social and emotional difficulties, which manifest themselves in many ways. They may include becoming withdrawn or isolated, as well as displaying challenging, disruptive, or disturbing behavior. These behaviors may reflect underlying mental health difficulties or disorders, such as attention deficit disorder, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, or attachment disorder. Sensory and/or physical needs. Some children require special educational provision because they have a disability which prevents or hinders them from making use of the general educational facilities provided. These difficulties can be age-related and may fluctuate over time. Some children with a physical disability require additional ongoing support and equipment to access the opportunities available to their peers. Have a think. What activities can we offer children in these four broad areas? Look at your provision and see what you provide. The role of the Senco. The EYS framework requires early years providers to have arrangements in place for meeting children's SEN. Those in group provisions are expected to identify a Senco. Your Senco and the child's key person must work in partnership with the child's parents when analysing the child's needs and establishing the support needed, including any arrangement and agreement to work with the professionals outside of the setting. What is the role of your Senco in your setting? SEN policy. The SEN policy should be seen in the context of equal opportunities and should be designed to promote inclusion. The following information should be included: a clear statement as to what the policy is seeking to achieve and how it relates to the SEN Code of Practice, and the name of the person responsible within the setting for coordinating day-to-day provision of education for pupils with SEN. Support available within the setting for children with SEN, including facilities for increasing access for pupils who are disabled, arrangements for reviewing, monitoring and evaluating the effectiveness of SEN provision, both in relation to individual across pupils and all pupils in the setting, arrangements for partnership working with parents and carers and for taking into account the ascertainable wishes of the child. Procedures for resolving complaints about SEN provision. Thank you for listening. My contact details are as follows. Email info@annrogers.co.uk, my website www.annrogers.co.uk. So thank you again for listening, and please hit the subscribe button. It's free.